So I'm very excited to see these teams go head-to-head, and we're kicking it right off again with Splat Zones on Museum.
Glad to see a lot of representation from the machine as a fellow machine main myself. I know these days it's quite all over the place, but still fun to see. We're going right ahead actually here, watching them run on out over here. That wall going away, letting them walk on in, but I don't know if they will. It's always nice to see who's going to get the first pick.
Yeah, right now both teams are actually playing relatively neutral. The buckets were using a very good well on the wall there of mid, but two do go down. It looks like 2 for 2. This is still going back and forth. NM stuck in a corner, but going down to Makaru, and now Todd here is just trying to keep the nice snipe by Ivor. Bravo. And they're definitely holding the zone really well, just making sure that they don't get capped here. And the other team's really
slowly to pick up this zone, which is good. You don't want to die too quickly, especially when you're trying to get past that first 100. Getting 2 picks, finally gonna be able to get the zone here. We'll see if the Splatling ends up being able to hold them back long enough for them to go straight past 76.
Yeah, UMRM with the cap here now, and you can see a couple members move up. We see Umbre with the machine just underneath, Makaru with the 52 just also hiding underneath, just waiting for members of Splat Force 3 to drop. We see 2 specials pop. We see the Zuka versus the Crab, and the Crab wins! Both wave breakers coming out. The Splash here is painting up, followed by the Booyah in Splat Force 3, able to take the cap back. The machine here sees the Splash. Or not machine, the Splatling sees the Splash, but it goes down in the corner with the follow-up by Jimmy there. Well done by Splat Force 3 as they got counter specials to pop out here, and they do reclaim lead.
That cooler's going to help them out to be a little bit more aggressive, and if things go wrong, they'll be able to come right on back. Jimmy and Anna have worked very well to hold that zone, but finally it does end up going back there. We see Jimmy, though, hiding around this corner, working very hard to fight off Ren here. It's a shot, V-shot, and that's that.
They, Splat Force 3 still holding. Oh, the
easiest.
Oh my gosh!
And that's something that needs to get clipped, I can imagine.
That is some Zuka action. What a start here
for them.
What a complete start here for that wipeout, and great comeback in from UMRM. What a great corner and great time to pop Zuka. Now you can see they're up on this plat, just waiting. They're going to start to use fizzies, just make some space for themselves before they go in for fights, and they do manage to pick off Jimmy. It's a machine 1 for 1, and it looks like Todd manages to take the win on that one and does launch Booyah Bomb to try to help. That
Booyah Bomb unfortunately getting stuck on the flop there.
Oh, it does too.
Not going to let them actually be able to take zone in the way they want to, and now they got to earn themselves another Booyah Bomb. But we'll see this Crab coming in here, getting 1 pick. Can it get a 2nd pick is the question, or at least keep them from being able to hold zone any longer? They're so close to neutral, and that might end up being an overtake.
Oh, they managed to. The one thing with the Crab Tank is when you're using the, as I like to call it, the Splatling mode, if you're not having it focus zone, it's not going to keep as much paint on it unless if you use the Explo mode. But it looks like Splat Force 3, they were able to come back in and recap that zone. They go in and they don't quite shred the Booyah, but they do shred the player. And now they do have pretty decent control here as Averil's in the prime spot here that she wants to be in, and Splat Force 3 can move up to try to get some picks here. It looks like one was picked in the corner in return of one of their front lines there, but the zone is being controlled right here as Ren, Makaru, Umbre, their UMRM is moving in pretty solidly here.
Absolutely. You're pulling out that again, trying to make sure that Splat Force doesn't have a chance to work their way back in. 10 points might not seem like a lot, and honestly, it ends up going by really fast.
It really does. Time just definitely flies here, but they do have this penalty to work through. Both teams have that penalty to go through, especially Splat Force 3 if they want to come back and reclaim that lead. They are popping Crab Tank. They do have the Wave Breaker out. It looks like the machine goes down on this left-hand corner to the other machine. Crab trying to pick it off. They do get it. And
proud of that Crab being able to defeat that machine as well. Machine is one of the greatest enemies the Crab can fight, with that arc going straight over the top of the Crab. Watching them try to get the zone back here. It is really close, and a 2v3. They could be able to retake the zone and keep this going. Oh, but
NM does get picked out. The Booyah Bomb's coming down. Can the Booyah Bomb do enough to hold this corner? It was really close, but unfortunately there was 2 members of UMRM there to help paint it through, and there was just not enough paint from Splat Force 3 at the end there, and members just to keep that hold. So UMRM coming back in there and taking that cap and the win.
A great back and forth fight to start, honestly. I love the positioning of Splat Force, especially near the center of the match, especially when Avril was finally able to get where she wanted to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that is a prime spot for Chargers on that map, is trying to take control of that mid or one of the side corners it's what a Charger wants. And when you know that your front lines can go up and seal the deal there, they just have all the free range they can. And then just all they have to do is make sure, hey, what's on my left-hand side? Because there is another way in on the left-hand side that teams can take if the Charger's being a nuisance up front.
Otherwise, it's all about displacement, which can be very hard to do on some maps. Like, I would argue this map here we're going to next on Tower Control, Hagglefish Market, very difficult map to displace a very well-placed backliner.
It is. There's a lot of good places for a backline to go here. This is the map that's equivalent to Starfish main stage. And there's so many different routes to take, a lot of high corners. A lot of the choke points are more towards like just after that first checkpoint. There's so many tight spaces that you can control with long range, with the fizzies,
From
blasters.
the top of that tent in the back right corner.
That tarp is a really good place to perch, like that E-leaders like to take, that Splatlings like to take, just to paint mid, get a feel around, scope out where everyone's going, especially find the early flanks. You can see them all from that tarp. So as the paint goes down, then you can just immediately watch that side from up on that tarp area. But yeah, both teams, they are both playing backline comps, and it is a Charger versus Splatling scenario.
I'm not sure we'll see too much of that change. You never know. Sometimes teammates decide they want to go with that fourth player that actually can just either put down more paint or give some more aggression and hope they can work away from that Splatling or Charger.
The interesting part going into this is, of course, like I'm pretty close with the backlines. Like Jimmy coming from, who's formerly on InkSync, was actually also a Charger player. But we see Jimmy going in here playing, what is it? We scrimmed them before Big House and was playing Veep Pro Splash, so is definitely using that crab tank. So even though they're playing a shorter range main weapon, they do have the special that is equivalent to their backline range strengths. So it's really working out for them. Mothman bringing out the Hydra here. Heck yeah, let's go Mothman.
The representation that you want to see.
I do enjoy all backlines, but of course Hydra's my dear main. But here we go into this tower control match. We
do have an Inkzuka weapon on both teams.
And look at this immediate hard push on the left here by Splat Force 3. Unfortunately, it was caught out really early, and if they did manage to get a pick, that would have worked out really well for Splat Force 3.
See our Hydra friend immediately on that tarp, just waiting for someone to get on the tower, hoping that they may be able to get a pick, but they won't need to, and most of them actually go down early. You see Jimmy going around the backside, seeing if they can catch anything, but they're going to have to come back, try and catch that tower. Oh,
they just finally call out Jimmy from behind. Jimmy's going to be this distraction from behind, keeping the 52 out of the way. Avril here is going to go on a head-to-head fight with the Hydra here. Hydra's being forced to booyah bomb, but leads into the Zuka shot. That was a bait moment there.
What a well-aimed Zuka too. That arc can be so hard to get into tight spaces like that. Really respectful to see.
Jimmy here trying to stay alive in the corner, but does finally get picked off by Makaru here, and still just UMRM looking really solid here.
Approaching checkpoint too.
Yeah, Machine looking really strong here. It did land 2 of the picks, finally getting the 3rd on the Charger. NM trying to go in and get a pick on this 52, but does go down in a trade. Jimmy is the last one alive yet again, and there's not a lot of time left for Splat Force 3 to regroup, and the shot's just, chilling.
Unfortunate. It just is the snowballing nature sometimes of tower control that can let that happen. For those at home that may not know, if a team is on the tower, they end up taking extra special along the way. And that's going to let you get more Zukas, more of everything, to help a team work their way towards a victory.
For a team on the defending side here is being put up with a lot of this pressure here. You'll feel this sense of panic, and I'm speaking much from experience here, especially from the set that I just came out of. The sense of panic will come into a lot of the players that don't have the range, that feel like they need to get into the play. Instead of kind of like taking a breather, waiting for everyone else, using your specials to come back in, just being a little patient. You want to try to realize that just if you don't get the first checkpoint, you want to definitely realize it by the second checkpoint. That way you can defend second checkpoint successfully and then come back in forward and give yourself a shot at trying to create another push again. It's just that sense of patience and trying to breathe there, and having the lead shot caller of which team call everyone back in. So
absolutely. It's been, honestly, even if the matches go by quickly, there was some good fighting going on by both teams. I really would have loved to see how Avril would have dealt with that Hydra if the Zuka didn't run through there. That pick, definitely something that I know she wanted.
It was a really nice combo there for the for Mothman to go up into Booyah Bomb and then just have their teammate come follow up with the Zuka, and then the Booyah Bomb can go somewhere else to control a different space. And when that happened, the machine was able to freely move up and just control that ledge. And 2 members of Splat Force 3 were stuck behind. The shooters that couldn't really get too much. They ended up going down into trades, but still left 2 members of UMRM alive, so they could still keep pushing up and go for a solid KO there and take advantage of the stagger that was put before them.
It's surprisingly not too difficult for shooter players to get up there either, because the ledges are rather short. So they don't have to do too much fall off guessing style aim. They can almost shoot straight and hit people who are a little too close to the ledge. Moving on into our 3rd match here. We know that Splat Force does want to win this one. That's so they can keep on going.
Yes, it is currently match point for UMRM here as we go to Rainmaker on Scorch Gorge. And we see comp staying the same for Splat Force 3, but we got the Blaster making an appearance here on UMRM.
Didn't bring it out for tower control, but taking a shot at it here.
This map has a lot of good spots for Blaster, especially on this bottom left, as we see that the Blaster is trying to take right now. This cancels out a lot of the backline places. Like the backline cannot take left here. They have to take the other side, and by taking the other side, it's going to force them into the teammates. And that's exactly what the Blaster was trying to do there.
We'll see if they'll be able to hold this checkpoint. We do see, that loop around doing some very big damage very quickly here. Thankfully, they are taken out, though, which does allow our players to actually regroup a little bit. We see the crab just using the crab to leave, almost making the escape.
Mothman there getting a nice pick on Jimmy, and Splat Force 3 just regaining their footing here as Jimmy respawns. You can see they're just kind of waiting up here, even though UMRM does have majority of the map control. We see the Tacticooler pop, but as soon as the Tacticooler gets popped, Todd gets picked off in the corner, followed by Jimmy. It's just Avril left alive. This is a huge moment for UMRM, and that they can possibly take the checkpoint here.
And they are going to run right forward and be able to get it. However, there are a lot of bombs by that Rainmaker shield, so I'm sure they'll want to hold off for a moment before grabbing it. Although it looks like they might be able to get that pop pretty quickly. With 2 of them going down, though, I'm sure the other 2 may choose to back on out.
The other 2 are actually holding pretty strong here. The Rainmaker's about to pop, but Mothman's in a good spot behind this obstacle right here. Even with the crab going by them here, now it's getting a little bit risky with a couple bombs, but Ren is still up here as well.
Mothman's still holding that position very well, too. They stayed there for a long time.
Yep, if you can, oh, what a pick by the Blaster here. Just a smidge, getting that little bit of a spark. And,
and that Inkzuka shot, absolutely.
All of this pressure being applied by UMRM right now is literally a solid wall pushing forward closer and closer, trying to make you feel claustrophobic in your base. And
they'll take this opportunity to run straight through.
It's just Avril yet again, and Avril's backing. If they could paint up, Mothman could just keep kind of pushing through and getting a lot of points here. Like that is a solid push for UMRM.
Absolutely. You know, the vacuum, though, does probably save the game. Without the vacuum, they would have been able to run straight on up to the podium if Avril had missed the shot. So a good choice.
Yeah, it definitely was a good thing, and even just, just slowing them down as much as possible, just preventing the KO. However, they're still trying to sneak it up. They almost grabbed it too, just to stall, but they weren't able to grab it. Oh, someone else did! Magaru managed to come in on the gal there just to sneak it up and stall in the base, because we can see that the members of UMRM, they're backing up where they need to be when they are a person down, and still adding a lot of pressure at it because they have the weapons to do so. The Blaster and the Splatling can just cover a lot of area just under ledges and over ledges together.
The Splatling is very much enjoying the grading that leads directly from mid into their base, as if no one can approach them, they can just stay there and keep people in their base.
Absolutely. Tacticooler coming out for Splat Force 3. They are juiced up and ready to go, and they are trying here, but it looks like ones get picked up from behind around the corner, and another good place, Suction Bomb, just making themselves an advantage in that 1v1 fight.
And now it actually is 2 down, almost 3 down. We're gonna watch them all start coming back now, of course.
Ren in the nice sharking position here. Oh boy.
Now what they're doing is holding the Rainmaker a little bit closer to mid, just trying to get some hits with it and applying even more pressure.
Ren, I love what Ren's doing here. Just like, you know, hey, I can go in here. I'm going to scooch in a little more. There's still a wall here. Okay, now this is a fight I can take. Very good play by Ren. And then backing up when needing to. Very good example. And the Inkzuka comes out looking for another pick. Mothman
along with the Wavebreaker as well, doing a little extra damage. The Wavebreaker comboing very well with, of course, the Range Blaster, providing a whole 45 points of damage every time it happens to hit an opponent.
Oh, the Rainmaker getting picked. That's 2 picks on the Rainmaker. This is a lot of good pressure. The Charger up on top. Charger looking for that pick, unable to get it, but now there's pinch on each side. The Squid Roll trying to get a little bit further out of the way, but could not get it.
With about a minute left on the clock, we know Splat Force wants to get out of their base, and I'm sure that they'll be able to. Marking actually Makaru as they're leaving, make sure that they don't get to leave without any kind of retribution.
We see Todd here just trying to paint up here, but then realizing that part of the wall can't be painted. The Zuka comes out from Todd, just barely going over, literally just barely going over the head of the other player that they wanted to hit, so the arc shot didn't quite count.
They do get the pick on the blaster that was watching the Zuka, which is a very good move, and we actually see 3 down now.
They might be able to, they finally are going to be able to get checkpoint here, and Crab comes out for Jimmy. There's a lot of bombs surrounding the Crab right now.
If enough players go down, this could be a reverse right here.
It is very close to being a reverse right here, and we're just about going into overtime. Splat Force 3 opts to pick it up. The vacuum coming out as well, trying to get all the damage. One goes down. They're going to move in. That's it.
A very good reversal, though. Even though they didn't get the point, they worked very hard to get out of their base, move their way back into mid, and then grab the Rainmaker to make a very good push.
Oh my goodness! It may have took. It's almost like a turf war situation here. You know how usually in like the last 30 seconds everything can change. That just about happened right then and there. But wow, like just for almost that entire game, Splat Force 3 was getting locked in their base, but finally they got their moment. They finally got the picks they needed. They came out and pushed back themselves. They got the 3-down situation, just leaving the shot. You could see the specials come out at it all the time. Avro was trying to vacuum everything away from the Rainmaker, but unfortunately the vacuum can only absorb so much
before it has to
explode.
Out.
Yep. And it had taken enough it could, and it just could not.